Derby County have just sacked manager Paul Warne after a dreadful run of results which sees the Rams in the Championship relegation zone. Derby are looking to bring in former player John Eustace, who is currently the Blackburn boss, to lead the herd to Championship survival. Now, Eustace has Blackburn in the playoffs, so he could definitely be the man for the job. However, this is where we come in, as today we are jumping into FC25, taking charge of Derby County. We are going to save them from Championship relegation and build them up to win the Champions League trophy. And for the first time ever in FC25, we will be using the live start points feature. Now, if you do enjoy the content, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it does really help me out. We're trying to get 5,000 subscribers on the channel. However, let's now jump into FC25 and get this Derby County rebuild on the way. So this is the Derby County team we have loaded into in FC25, and as we can see by having a quick glance over the squad, we do have quite a lot of first team players currently out injured, and this is because for the first time in FC25 we are using the live start points feature, and we are starting just outside of the January transfer window, meaning we cannot sign any players at all in season 1, which is absolutely gutting. Now, we start off the career mode in 22nd in the league on 27 points, meaning the first objective of this rebuild is to keep Derby County in the Championship, and then we can start working towards getting them back to the Premier League. Now, as we know, we are stuck with what we've got in season number 1, and the best player at the club is goalkeeper Jakob Zetterstrom, who they signed in the summer. Is 71 rated and 26-year-old. However, they have sold Erling Cashin to Brighton and Hove Albion for £10 million in real life. Now, what this means for us is we will not be able to use him at all this season, and we will in fact have to sell him. But unfortunately, in FC25, we're going to get absolutely nowhere near 10 million for him. Now, a pretty common theme among the best players at Derby County, they are all aging. Other than Zetterstrom, the star players like Ebu Adams, Ben Osborne, Nathaniel Mendez-Lang are all pushing 30 years of age or above, meaning they will not get much better than what they currently are. As looking at the average age of the squad, we have got to get some of these older players out of the club. They have got at least 10 players at the club who are 30 years of age or older, with loads of players in their high 20s as well. And there are literally hardly any players on the books who are under 22 years old who are actually worth using. This is really concerning for me, and this is going to be a very difficult rebuild. Now, one player who we have got in on loan from Crystal Palace is David Ozor. He is 66 rated and 19 years old, and he is definitely someone I'm going to be looking to make a permanent signing. Now, Derby only start off with £3 million, and given the fact we are outside of the transfer window, we are pretty much limited to making our current loan players permanent, or maybe scouring the free agents list. So I think it makes absolute sense to make David Ozor a permanent player at Derby. And just looking at the starting 11 on initial inspection, we are going to have to do so much work with this team. And as of right now, we need to change the formation about, get Erling Cashin out of the starting 11 as he's been sold. James Collins has also been sold, so we need to get rid of him out of the team as well. So we have changed up the formation and brought some personnel into the starting 11. We're going to go with the 4-3-3 defend just to make us more solid. Then we can rely on our front three and central midfielder to get the goals for us. You may notice though, now we've took Erling Cashin out of the team, our defence is absolutely woeful. The best we can muster up at the minute is Forsyth and Rooney. All of our other centre-backs are out injured. This Derby team is, I'm not going to lie lads, really underwhelming on paper. We don't even have a centre-back on the bench. We're going to have a scour of the free agents list to find a backup centre-back who can just fill a void till the summer, and we are also going to go ahead and make David Ozor's loan permanent. Now, we have gone ahead and made David Ozor's loan deal permanent for just £1.2 million, and I think this is a very good pickup. Now, before we go ahead and search the free agents list for a centre-back, we have decided on the way we want to play with Derby, and that's going to be counter-attacking football. Genuinely think that a counter-attacking philosophy goes really well with a 4-3-3 defend. Hopefully a more defensive approach works for us at Derby County. Now, we have managed to bring a centre-back into the club, boys, and I'm really happy with this signing. Israel Reyes has signed for Derby on a 3-year deal. As he is a free agent, he joins us straight away outside of the transfer window. He's 24-year-old, 74 rated, really good stats, and he is instantly the best player at the club, and all of a sudden our defence is looking much stronger. Now, we're left with 959 grand in the bank. We've got contracts to renew, and I also want to bring some coaches in. We are going to try and sell Erling Cashin. Now, with the low funds that we've got in the bank right now, we can't really afford to send our youth scouts out in season number 1, which is really disappointing. We just need to get through this half season, stay in the Championship. We're only 2 points off survival. Don't think there's much more we can do other than simulate forward straight through to the end of the season, and hopefully in 17 games time Derby have avoided the drop to League 1. But we have arrived at the end of season number 1, boys, and despite our best efforts, we have in fact stayed in the Championship. We finished 18th overall on 53 points, 8 points clear of the relegation. relegation zone. Portsmouth, Millwall and Plymouth Argyle all went down, and in season 2 we will once again be a championship side, and this next transfer window is going to be one of the most important in the entire rebuild. Now, we're not going to check the cups because Derby were knocked out of both competitions before we was appointed as manager. This is how the team is looking at the end of the season, and as we can see, it definitely needs work. We've got a lot of injured players back. Players like Nat Phillips and Kane Wilson come back into the starting 11, but we definitely need, in my opinion, a full new front three in season number 2. Jerry Yates is only in on loan. Mendes Lang is 33. Jackson's 31. We need to bring 3 young players in to lead our attack in season number 2. We're also going to have to bring in a left back, as Callum Elder is nowhere near good enough for championship standard and is also 29 years old. Hopefully the board decide to give us a big budget, because we have got some serious work to do in the season 2 transfer window. Because at the end of the season we'll be saying goodbye to Nat Phillips, Jerry Yates, Marcus Harness and Tawanda Chiarawa. All 4 players are only in on loan, and we will not be making their loans permanent. We'll also be saying goodbye to Connor Washington, James Collins, Craig Forsyth and Tom Barkhuizen, as we're not going to be renewing any of their deals. They aren't good enough to play for Derby. This is going to really thin out our squad. But in terms of stats, it was Jerry Yates' goals that helped keep us in the championship. Jackson and Mendes Lang did chip in with a decent amount of goals as well, but I think the lack of goals in the team really emphasises the fact that we have got to bring some better attacking players into the club. So without further ado, let's now get into season number 2 and start working on building this squad up. Now, we've arrived in season number 2. We've got so many signings we have to make, and the board have only given us £5 million. Now, we will be selling and cashing in this transfer window. Hopefully we can bring some decent funds into the club with that sale. But with not many saleable assets actually at the club, we're going to be relying on loans a lot in this transfer window. So we've had some excellent news, boys. We have won our pre-season tournament. £1.275 million added to our transfer funds. Now, boys, we have done so much transfer business in season number 2. We are just going to run through it all in one swoop, because we have literally been a revolving door in this transfer window. So much business has taken place. So let's start with the outgoings. Ellen Cashin has left the club. He has joined Rangers for 2.7 million. Callum Elder has left the club for QPR for 760k. Joe Ward has left the club for 760k to West Brom. And we also loaned out youngster Joanne Brown for 2 seasons. Now, we have been extremely busy in the transfer market, and we have only gone and made 5 outstanding signings. Kicking off our transfer business, we loaned in Liverpool left back Luke Chambers on a 2-year loan. He's 21 years old, he is 67 rated, has got pretty decent stats and is 6'1" as well. In 2 seasons time, we'll be able to sign Luke Chambers for £1.8 million. I think that's a very, very good deal. He's actually got pretty good potential in FC25. We would then make our second loan signing of the window, and this one is hugely more significant. Ibrahim Osman has joined the club on a 2-year loan from Brighton and Hove Albion. He's 20 years old, 72 rated, fantastic stats, absolutely rapid, would be one of the best players at the club, and we can sign him in 2 years time when his loan is up for £4.5 million. That's another really, really good deal. So 2 very promising loan players signed. Now on to the free cash deals. The first player we signed was a striker, Nathan Law from Stoke City, who is 68 rated, 19-year-old, 6'4", has really good stats along with the showing great potential status. We signed him for £2 million. If you are familiar with the lower leagues of English football, Nathan Law in real life absolutely ripped it up at Walsall in the first half of the season, and we're hoping he can carry that form over now in a Derby County shirt. We will then go on to sign a centre-back from League 1, Mikhail Fair. He is 70 rated, 21-year-old, has showing great potential and fantastic defensive stats. We signed him for £2.4 million from Stade Rennais, and I think he'll be an excellent centre-back for us throughout the duration of this rebuild. Now time for what I think is the most exciting signing of the transfer window. We ventured over to the Elite Zealand to bring in Norwegian winger Tobias Gulliksen. He is 22 years old, 72 rated, has fantastic stats and really good potential. Really excited to use him, as we've not signed many players from the Elite Zealand in this rebuild. Paid £3.2 million for his services, and I'm really looking forward to see how he gets on at Pride Park. Now, I know in real life Derby have signed a striker and central midfielder from the Norwegian leagues. Unfortunately, the transfers have not yet gone through in FC25, and we literally have 25 quid in the bank, so I can't make them signings. I've literally just found out now. But with all the new signings in the starting 11, how much have we improved this team in just a short amount of time? I think we've had an excellent transfer window. Our wingers are young, exciting, and got really good potential. Nathan Law could be an absolute superstar in this rebuild. We now have a decent midfield, and we've got a very strong defence. I do expect Fye and Chambers to grow loads this season, and given the fact we've also got a decent bench and decent players in the reserves, I think we'll be absolutely nowhere near the relegation relegation zone this season. Really excited to see how this team develops and gets on in season number 2. And given the fact we've only got 25 quid in the bank, we'll once again not have enough money to send our youth scouts out. Hopefully we can do next season. Let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of season number 2 and see how Derby County get on. So we have arrived at the end of season number 2, boys, and we have had an absolutely excellent season in the Championship, finishing 8th in the table on 67 points, just 5 points off a playoff place, scoring 82 goals along the way and winning 20 of our games. Considering our goal for season number 2 was just to build on a 16th place finish, we've done one better and actually challenged for the playoffs. And I think if we can get the right additions in season number 3, we have definitely got a chance of getting Derby into the playoffs and hopefully in the Premier League. Now, unfortunately, in the FA Cup, we were knocked out in the 3rd round by Southampton. They beat us 3-2. Hopefully, we can go one better next season, but our main priority in season 2 was the league. And this is how the Derby County team is looking at the end of season number 2, and what a team we are building on paper. Osman has been outstanding this season. He's grown to 77 rated. Reyes is our best player on paper, going to 78 rated. We've actually had really good growth all across the entire pitch. Now, I do think we're going to need 2 signings at least in season number 3. We definitely need a right back to replace Kane Wilson, and we will have to bring in an actual central midfielder as we will be changing the formation. I don't think we need to be as defensive anymore as the team is looking much better on paper. So we're going to switch things up and go with a 4-3-3 holding formation, meaning we only have 1 CDM and 2 centre mids. So in season number 3, we need to bring in a proper central midfielder to replace Adams, hopefully a very young player of excellent potential, and we will also be looking to bring a right back to the club as well. Now, at the end of the season, we will be saying goodbye to 5 players who are all over 30 and no longer good enough to play for Derby. Now, in terms of stats, Nathan Lowe did manage to find the form he's shown at Walsall in a Derby shirt, getting 25 goals and 10 assists, and he was our best player. Osman and Gullikson were absolutely fantastic as well, both scoring over 20 goals. Our new look attack, absolutely killing it. Genuinely think we have got a definite chance of getting into the playoffs in season 3. So we have arrived at the start of season number 3, and we've only been given £6 million to improve the squad, which is going to make things slightly more difficult for us as we really don't have many saleable assets. Hopefully by the end of the transfer window, our squad is looking stronger. So lads, we have got our transfer business done very early. We're only on the 5th of July. Happy to say that our incomings are over and done with. So kicking things off, we have made yet another loan to buy signing. Elias Baum has joined us from Frankfurt till the end of the season. He is 20-year-old, 72 rated, has got excellent potential, really decent stats, and at the end of the season we can confirm the signing of Baum for £2.8 million. Now, we have made an absolutely incredible signing in the central midfield position as Christos Mouzakitis joins us from Olympiacos for £4.5 million. He is 73 rated, he is 19 years old, he's got excellent stats, is an exciting prospect, and we've got him for 1.5 million below his market value. I think this is the best signing of the rebuild so far. He will slot in beautifully on the left side of our midfield, and this is definitely a signing to be getting really excited about. And with Baum and Mouzakitis added to our team, I think we've got a very strong team on paper now. The lowest rated player in our starting 11 is Chambers, who will continue to grow this season. Do you know what, lads? I would be very disappointed if this team is not in the playoffs at the end of the season. Now, we do only have 525k. We've got 2 players listed for transfer. If we bring any money back into the club, I want to get some more coaches in, and I finally want to get my youth scouts out scouting. We've not done any scouting in this rebuild so far. Now, there hasn't only been incomings in this transfer window, we have sold some players as well. Ben Osborne has left the club for £1.5 million. We've cashed in on him now while he is aging, and we can actually get some money for him. Darren Robson has left the club for 240 grand. Rohan Lufra has left the club for 195 grand, and we have sold Ryan Nyambe for £1.2 million to Luton. We have also loaned out one of our youth players. Flavio Loca has gone out on loan for a season. Now we can finally get our youth scouts out and start filling up our youth academy, which is what we've been lacking in this rebuild so far. Today we are going to be going with this comment, who wants us to scout Northern Ireland and Scotland, which will do both this season. We'll send a scout to Northern Ireland for 3 months, then a scout to Scotland for 3 months. Hopefully we can bring some serious talent into the club. And I think looking at the squad, we are definitely lacking a decent backup striker. We're going to go into the transfer market and bring a decent backup striker to the club, and our transfer window will be completed. And we have made our final signing of season number number 3 as Harry Leonard joins the club for £2.9 million from Austria Wien. He's 22-year-old, 71 rated, has really decent stats, looks like he'll be an excellent backup striker for us, and I'm hoping he can grow at the same rate as Law, so when we come to the end of the rebuild, we've got 2 excellent English strikers, leaving us with 745 grand in the bank, which we're going to use entirely on bringing youth players into the club. And with our transfer window now completed, this will be the Derby County team to take us into season number 3. We look much better, more positive formation with the 4-3-3 holding. I do think we've got enough quality to get into the playoffs. We've also got a pretty decent bench as well. I am genuinely really excited to see how we get on this season. So let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of season number 3, see how the Rams are getting on. So we have arrived at the end of season number 3, lads, and if you remember, I said I wanted to finish in the playoffs this season. Well, we have gone one better and actually won the championship on 95 points. We were 10 points clear of third place Middlesbrough. We won 28 of our 46 games, scoring 89 goals. Derby County have won the championship. It's a first bit of silverware to our trophy cabinet, and in season 4, we are in the Premier League. In the FA Cup, we would make the 5th round, but unfortunately, we would lose to Premier League side Burnley 2-0. Now, this is the Derby team that has won the championship, and it's very easy to see why. This team is absolutely fantastic on paper. We've already got an 82 rated player in Osman. We've got so many players, though, who are ready to reach 80 rated, like Faye, Reyes, Ozor, Muzikitis, Goodman, Law, Gullikson. This entire squad could be 80 rated very early into season 4. Now, we do have the small issue of our loan to buy players. Baum, Osman and Chambers all need making permanent at the start of next season, but I'm hoping the board will give us upwards of £50 million, and that should only take up a fraction of our budget. Looking at the team, where do I want to improve? Well, I think the starting 11 is absolutely fantastic. I'm more than happy to give Chambers and Baum another season to grow. I do think, though, Zetterstrom is not exactly a Premier League standard goalkeeper. I think we're going to need a better goalkeeper, boys. I'm willing to put pretty much all of our budget into signing a Premier League standard goalkeeper, because that could be the difference between us staying up and going down. If we have any remaining money, I would like to bring in a backup central midfielder, but after making them loans permanent and signing a goalkeeper, I can't see us having any money. Now, in terms of stats, Nathan Law was once again our best player, getting 26 goals and 3 assists, but once again, Osman and Gullikson scored over 20 goals. Now we need to get into season 4, bring in a goalkeeper and just survive in the Premier League and then build from there. So we have arrived at the start of season 4, and the board have given us £47 million to improve our team. We're going to now go away, make all the loan signings permanent, and hopefully we have around £30 million to bring a new goalkeeper to the club. And we have completed the permanent signings of Elias Baum, Luke Chambers and Ibrahim Osman for a combined total of just £9 million. Honestly, boys, you have to get onto the loan to buy if you haven't already. I mean, Ibrahim Osman is literally worth £58 million. We have just signed him for £4.2 million. Now, after making those signings permanent, we have had to give them quite big wages, and we're left with just £29 million to bring a goalkeeper to the club. And the goalkeeper we have identified to bring to Derby County in this transfer window is Antonin Kinski, who is currently playing for Fulham in game. In FC25, he is currently 24-year-old and has got really decent goalkeeping stats, and the main thing about Kinski is he's very affordable. Fulham are going to want anywhere from 18.6 to 23.3 million pounds, and I think he would be an excellent signing, and we wouldn't have to sell Zetterstrom to make this deal happen. And Antonin Kinski signs, lads, for 19 million pounds, and I think this is a fantastic signing. And we will be making one final signing in season number 4. We've brought in a backup central midfielder, Michel Adopo, from the free agents list. He is 26-year-old, 75 rated, has got really decent defensive stats. Not the most glamorous player, but he definitely gives us a better option off the bench. I think this is actually a pretty good pickup. So we are now left with just £6 million in the bank. We definitely can't afford to bring anyone else into the club. We've had a very successful transfer window. We're not looking to sell anyone. I'm happy to say that our transfer window is done and the Derby County team for season 4 is locked in. And this is how the team is looking heading into season number 4. We've got a very decent team on paper. Player has now reached 80 rated. I'm hoping some other players aren't far behind him. I do think we've got enough to beat the drop, boys. We've got a very young team that's still developing. I think if we can finish anywhere above 18th place and avoid relegation, it's been a very, very very successful season. Hopefully this season we can stay up, and in season 5 we can put a little bit of money into improving our bench. Now, to be honest with you boys, the team is picked, our scouts are off scouting. I think all that's really left to do now in season number 4 is simulate forward straight through to the end of the season. We're not looking to sell anyone, our business is done. Let's just cross our fingers and our toes that Derby are still a Premier League side at the end of the season. So we've arrived at the end of the season, boys, and we have in fact finished 11th in the Premier League on 49 points, nowhere near the relegation zone. We actually won 14 of our games. That is absolutely fantastic going. And in season 5, no matter what, we are still a Premier League side, and now we can start trying to put the building blocks in place to get us to European football. In the FA Cup, we would make the 5th round, but really disappointingly, we would lose to Coventry City 3-2, who are a league below us. We had to be winning that game, lads. So this is how the team is looking at the end of season number 4. We have got a very, very strong team on paper. It has to be said, lads. Literally quality all across the team. There's only 2 players in the starting 11 who are below 80 rated in Chambers and Bowen, but they are both young players who are still developing. I do think, however, going into season number 5, it might be time to actually bring a left back into the club who is in fact better than Chambers. We don't have a decent backup fullback at the club, so Chambers would have a really big role to play from the bench. If we have any remaining money, lads, I would definitely like to bring in a backup centre-back, as we're definitely lacking one, but let's just see what kind of money the board throw us. Now, in terms of stats, Nathan Lowe is continuing to excel at Derby, getting 23 goals and 4 assists in his first season in the Premier League. Gullickson and Osman both added plenty of goals, along with Muzakitis. I think we've performed really, really well on the pitch. I'm just hoping we can carry this form over into season number 5. So we have arrived in season number 5, boys. The board have only given us £33 million to improve the team. Pretty disappointing budget. Hopefully we've got enough to bring an established left back into the club, but I'm really not holding my breath, lads. It might be a case of just improving our bench this season. So, lads, given the fact that we've only got a pretty small transfer budget in season number 5, I thought it would be best to just improve the quality of our bench. So we have gone out, spent our budget on 3 players who make our bench much, much stronger, might I add. Kicking things off with a free agent signing, Mauro Perkovic joins the club on a 4-year deal. He's 25-year-old, 76 rated, plays centre-back and left-back and has got really decent stats. He will be a very decent backup centre-back for us throughout the entirety of this rebuild. We would then bring a backup full-back into the club, as we would sign Brooke Norton-Coffey from Genoa. He is 24-year-old, 76 rated, can also play right midfield, has got really decent stats and only cost us 7.5 million. Again, he'll be an excellent backup option in the full-back position. And our main signing of season number 5 is a right winger, Adam Carabet. Joins the club for just £14 million. He is 24-year-old, 78 rated, 6'1", has excellent attacking stats. We've actually got him for 2.5 million below his market value, and he is an absolutely excellent option off the bench. Now, we've only got £5 million left in the bank, and we're not expecting to sell anyone in this transfer window, so that could be our transfer window closed in case anything mad happens off camera. Now, no change at all to the starting 11, but with our new signings added to the bench, we have literally got an option in every single position to help influence the game, and I definitely think this is going to help us win more games this season, as our bench was definitely lacking last season. So not an entirely glamorous transfer window, but we have definitely improved the squad overall, which is all we want to do. Other than that, boys, I don't think there'll be any more business done in this transfer window. I'm more than happy now to just simulate forward straight through to the end of season number 5. I'm not expecting Europe, as the board didn't give us a big enough budget, but I am hoping we can sneak into the top half, and hopefully in season 6 we can start working towards getting actually into Europe. So we've arrived at the end of season number 5, boys, and we have actually managed to finish in the top half of the Premier League, finishing 9th on 57 points. It was only 6 points off a European place. We also scored 71 goals, showing we know where the back of the net is, and hopefully in season 6 we can finally crack into European football. But in the FA Cup, boys, we just cannot get going. Knocked out in the 5th round by Leeds United 2-1. We seriously need to start picking it up in the cup competitions, as our trophy cabinet is barren. So this is how the Derby County team is looking at the end of season number 5. The team is looking very strong on paper. Osman and Muzakitis are getting really close to 90 rated. Hopefully by the end of next season they are both in fact 90 rated. But going into season number 6, I think it's finally time that we replace Luke Chambers at left back. He just isn't growing at all, lads. And if we can bring in an adequate replacement who boosts the overall of our defence, I'll be absolutely buzzing. But we need the board to put their hands in their pockets if we're going to improve this team any further. Now, in terms of stats, you probably guessed it, Nathan Lowe was our our best player once again, getting 20 goals and 6 assists. Osman and Muzakitis were fantastic as well, along with Gullikson, all getting plus 10 goals. Hopefully they can continue this form into Season 6. Speaking of Season 6, let's get there now and start improving our squad. So we have arrived in Season number 6 and we've only got 44 million in the bank. I think we're going to have to sell one of our rotation players to build up some funds because we are desperate for a world-class left-back in this window. So we have had a very, very busy transfer window, boys. We've sold every single bit of deadwood from the squad and managed to make 2 new signings. We sold Liam Thompson for 1.4 million to Millwall. Tyrese Forner has left the club for 1.6 million. Jake Rooney has left the club for 860 grand. Corey Blackett-Taylor has left the club for 1 million. Academy graduate Rafael Mendoza has left the club for 1.5 million. Dwayne Brown has left the club for 1.3 million. And we sold another academy graduate, Flavio Roca, for 2.5 million. We would then go on to bring Ebu Adams' replacement in. Lamar Bogard of Aston Villa is 25-year-old, 75 rated, can play CDM, centre mid and centre back, very versatile, decent stats, will be a really decent squad player, and we signed him for just £4 million. Now, time for the marquee signing of season number 6, and we have got our world-class left back. We spent all of our money on left back Ian Matson. He is 27-year-old, 85 rated, excellent stats, absolutely rapid and can defend as well. Got him for below his market value as his contract was expiring. We signed him for £40 million, and this is the biggest signing of the rebuild today. However, we are now left with just £6 million in the bank, so our transfer window is definitely done. We do have some youth players out on loan, so if the squad starts looking thin, we can always recall them. So with Matson in the team, this will be the Derby County team to take us into season number 6. We've got a very, very strong team on paper. We should definitely be getting some form of European football this season. Hopefully Muzakitis and Osman can reach 90 rated as well this season. That would be fantastic. And we do have a strong bench, believe it or not, boys. 2 80 rated players on there. I would be really disappointed if we're not playing in Europe next season. I don't really think there's much more we can do, boys, but simulate forward straight through to the end of season 6. Our transfer window is done. Our team is picked. Our bench is picked. Let's just hope we can finally get European football for season 7. Now, lads, we have arrived at the end of season number 6. In fact, we're actually at the start of season number 7. My PC has had a spasm and the file with the footage of the end of season 6 has unfortunately been corrupted. However, we did finish second in the Premier League on 70 points, but Arsenal won the league and they were 19 points clear of us, so we've got a lot of work to do if we want to win the Premier League. We will be playing in the Champions League in season 7. In the FA Cup, we made the 5th round but got beat 3-2 by Burnley. And this is how the Derby County team is looking heading into season number 7. I would show you in the actual team management hub, but all the players are on international duty. We've got a very, very strong squad for Premier League level. I did say in season 7 my goal is to bring a world-class goalkeeper to the club to replace Kinski, as I don't think he's at the level to be a top-end Champions League level player. We also will be looking to replace Gumine if anything comes available, and with £109 million in the bank, I do think we'll be able to replace both players. And let's just hope and pray my PC cooperates with me and doesn't corrupt any more footage. Now, we have identified the goalkeeper we want to bring to Derby in this transfer window, and it's Georgi Marmadashvili of Liverpool. He is 29 years old, 88 rated, has unbelievable stats, a few play styles, and he's also 6'6", an absolute specimen of a player, and he's very affordable to us as well, boys. Liverpool are going to want anywhere from 69 to 86 million pounds for him. We're going to try and get a good deal and bring this man to Pride Park. And we have signed Georgi Marmadashvili for 70 million pounds, and this is an unbelievable signing, leaving us with 34 million pounds in the bank. We're going to try to sell 1 or 2 players and hopefully be able to replace Gumine in the starting 11. Do you know what, lads? We've had to renew a lot of first team contracts, and that's used up 14 million pounds of our budget. Only got 20 million left. I'm not going to force the issue. We're probably going to keep Gumine in the starting 11 for another season, and next summer, if we can qualify for the Champions League again and get a similar budget, we can replace him with an actual world-class centre midfielder. Now, there has been a slight bit of transfer movement out of the club. Kane Wilson has left the club for 1.8 million, and Jakob Zetterstrom has left the club for 6.5 million, and we also did loan out one of our young academy players. I think I'm going to call that our transfer window done, boys. We do still have 28 million in the bank, but I don't think we're going to bring anyone in who massively influences the squad with that money, so I'm happy to say that our transfer window is officially done. I'm happy with the business that we have done this summer. Now, we are in the Champions League this season, and some of our standout fixtures from the league phase are Atletico Madrid at home, Ajax away, PSG at home, so we're going to have to be at our best to get through the league phase. Hopefully we can do. So let's simulate forward straight through to the end of season number 7 and see if we did. We have arrived at the end of season number 7, boys, and we have finally claimed a major piece of silverware, winning the Premier League on 83 points, 5 points clear of second placed Arsenal, scoring 86 goals and winning 26 games along the way. And that's a Premier League trophy added to our trophy cabinet, and is that a sign of things to come? Well, in the FA Cup, we would once again lose in the 5th round as Newcastle United beat us on penalties. However, we would go on to smash Chelsea in the Carabao Cup final, winning our first domestic cup of the rebuild and adding a Carabao Cup trophy to our trophy cabinet. But will we have the chance to win one more trophy? We will indeed, as we are in the Champions League final, boys, and we will be taking on Juventus. And this is a very weird Champions League campaign. In the league phase, we actually finished 17th, winning 3, drawing 3 and losing 2 of our games. That would mean we would have to play a playoff round, and we beat Borussia Dortmund 6-3 over 2 legs. In the round of 16, we would take on Bayern Munich, and this was a very close tie. We won the first leg but lost the second leg 3-1, winning the tie 5-4 on aggregate. Very close tie. And then in the quarterfinals, we would have another close tie as we beat Inter Milan 2-1 over 2 legs. To set up a semi-final with Marseille, who we beat 3-1 over 2 legs, eventually setting up a final against Juventus. And this is the Derby County team that has got us to a Champions League final, and this team is absolutely frightening on paper. We've got 4 90 rated players. Lowe and Osman look like seriously dangerous players at 92 and 93 rated. We've got some really good players throughout the squad like Mamardashvili, Maatsen and Gullikson. Midfield not as strong as I would have liked, but Ozor and Goodmine are very, very good players. We've got a really, really strong bench as well, lads. I'm a little bit concerned about our backup striker, but other than that, we've got so many options we can bring on to influence a game. I genuinely think heading into the Champions League final against Juventus, we are definitely the favourites. Now, in terms of stats, Nathan Lowe had his best season yet, getting 41 goals and 9 assists in 63 games. We really relied on Tobias Gullikson, who was fantastic this season. He got 36 goals and 16 assists, his best return yet, and Muzakitis and Osman had really good goal scoring seasons as well. So our players this season have been excellent. We just need them to be excellent one more time in the Champions League final against Juventus. So here we go, Champions League final time, live from the Estadio Metropolitano. Let's get this trophy to Pride Park. Juventus can get forward. Was that a shot from Coop Miners? I feel like that could have been a shot. Oh, he skins us, to be fair, and he get across. Could be a chance for Juventus. Great tackle by him. What? What? Give him a free kick? Have I done something I've not realised there? And we've managed to defend the situation, which is good. Shot from distance. Easy save from Mamardashvili. Osman could be in. Great ball. Osman, he's got the pace. Across the box. Good mine. It's in. It's 1-0 to Derby County. Kenzo Goodmine with a goal. The player who's been with us since day one puts the Rams into the lead. And from bottom of the championship all the way through to the Champions League final, you could not write Kenzo Goodmine scoring in this game. With our first sight of goal in the game, we are 1-0 up. Nathan Lowe. Oh, he's got speed. He has got speed. He has got the speed. He has got the speed. The pass is on to Gullikson. Great ball. Gullikson. It's 2-0 to Derby County. A brilliant counter-attacking goal. And Tobias Gullikson, who's been our best player this season, puts us in a commanding position in this Champions League final. Absolutely brilliant play by Nathan Lowe to break away from his men. A lovely ball across the box. Gullikson isn't picked up and has got all the time in the world to pick out the top corner. 2-0 to Derby in this final with our only 2 chances of the game. Is this tie actually over before half-time? Someone could be putting a foot in though. It's a good save by Mamardashvili. They've actually made a substitution. They've just took Cup Miners off and brought Lucas Bergvall on. Corner whips in. That's going to be Mamardashvili's, and he punches away beautifully. Get a shot away. Oh no. Oh my god. Oh my god, Lucas Bergvall scores for Juventus. I think I might have mistimed a slide tackle there on the edge of the box. 2-1 Juventus are back in this game ever so slightly. And that's the first thing we do after conceding is pass the ball straight out of play. And that's half time, boys. We was flying. Juventus have brought us back down to earth. They took Coop Miners off, brought Bergvall on, and his first action was to score. But we are in front heading into the second half. If I can find a third goal and kill the tie off, I'd be buzzing. Getting any chances. We've been really good in the second half, to be fair. Defensive and really strong. Juventus having a lot of the ball, but they're not really doing any penetration with it, really. Just keeping it in their own half. Good interception by Fight. Oh no, Ibrahim with the shots, and it's an easy save. Mamardashvili, 75 on the clock. Last couple of minutes of the game, lads. Just need to see this game out. That's actually a really good ball, man. You need to get that Mamardashvili, and he does. And that is massive, as we are now in the last minute. It's smashed forward. And there is the game, lads. 2-1 to Derby County. 2 early goals, see off Juventus, and Derby County are the champions of Europe. And now all that's left to do is watch us lift the trophy, boys. David Azor will do the honours, and Derby County are the champions of Europe, and that is another rebuild successfully boxed off. So I just want to say a massive thank you for watching the video. If you have enjoyed it, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it does really help me out, and I will see you next week for another rebuild.